Good afternoon. Welcome to Glendale City Council and Glendale Housing Authority joint meeting. Clerk?
Actually, we're beginning by the Housing Authority meeting.
We are?
I will take
It'll
roll.
just be Glendale Housing Authority.
Yeah, it'll be just Glendale Housing Authority, right?
Vice Chair Ajinian,
Here.
Authority Member Asatrian,
Here.
Brotman,
Here.
Karpetian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Parazian, Chair Kasakian. I will now read my report. The agenda for the September 17, 2024 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on September 13, 2024 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Next.
Okay.
Next
Go, next one.
is the approval of minutes. Minutes of regular Housing Authority meeting of July 16th and the regular Housing Authority and joint City Council and Housing Authority meetings of August 20th, 2024.
Okay.
I'll move minutes.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, go ahead.
Roll call.
Just ask for roll call.
Yeah, yeah. Let me have a roll call, please, Clerk.
Yes. Housing Authority members Asatrian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Karpetian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Parazian, Chair Kasakian, and Vice Chair Ajinian.
Yes.
Next is oral communications. We do have one card. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
Okay. Next is
And
business.
our one speaker is Herbert Milano. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mayor Setran, members of the Housing Authority, and members of the City Council, my name is Herbert Milano. The issues that generally come to you and that you deal with basically are two: housing stability and housing opportunity. And I think that for most of the meetings, the issues about housing opportunity, building new housing, building affordable housing, and so forth, I think it's taking the primary focus from my experience of this of the Housing Authority. And I want to address the housing stability issue first with information that may be new to you or a perspective that you may not have considered. The studies that I have looked at recently show that about 97% of the evictions that occur are due to non-payment of rent. And one of the primary issues for non-payment of rent is obviously what is very common is loss of a job. So if there are two individuals paying for an apartment and one of them loses a job, well, you have a 50% reduction in their income. It's kind of obvious. When compared to a rent increase, is a much more significant number to look at, and that's where the prevalence of the problem of housing instability is. There was a study done by the University of California in San Francisco called the California Statewide Study of People Experiencing Homelessness. And in this particular report, it stated that 82% suffered from mental health issues, which I believe also includes substance abuse, and it includes alcoholism and so forth. 16% due to domestic violence. So the preponderance of what you find of individuals who eventually wind up as homeless are issues that have very little to do with a rent increase. It's little to do with the major trauma that occurs in their lives: loss of a job, loss of a spouse. But oftentimes there's something that precedes that. And what precedes a loss of a job oftentimes is substance abuse and the use of fentanyl, the use of other opioids, the use of other drugs that impacts their performance on the job will eventually impact their job stability, which means it impacts their lack of money and eventually non-payment of rent. So I think that the narrative that we often hear, like a rent increase will cause homelessness, well, there's a huge trajectory before that. According to this report, 50% of the individuals who are homeless during the previous 6 months did not have a lease and did not have a mortgage, meaning that they were living either with a relative or a friend. 20% before they became homeless were in prison. So now we're talking about 70% of the problem has nothing to do with rent increases or the situation of their lease. So let's take a look at that 30%. The 30% who basically had a loss or were evicted during the before they became homeless. There were 600 evictions in Glendale on average in the past few years, and I'm basically making a proposal. If there is a relationship between a rent increase and eventual homelessness, well, why don't we test it out? The city council could propose to require that a shortage of rental payment cannot be used as a reason for eviction unless it's equal to 1 month's rent. So if a landlord increases the rent by, let's say, 5% and the tenant is not able to pay it, under this proposal, a tenant could actually remain on their property, on their residence, for nearly a year or more without being evicted, because that 5% will not equal, obviously, the amount required to be under this rule. This rule is being used in the city of LA. I think it makes sense. I think it gives individuals who are barely making the rent every month an opportunity to be able to at least stay on their property, on the property that they're renting, until they're able to get their economics under order. What I would like to encourage is for the Housing Authority to gather better information and better analysis in order to determine what future policy should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
Next is authority member and staff comments.
I'd like to make a comment. It was a very well done presentation, but wouldn't it be nice if you had some kind of a media presentation to this? You know, something much more rather than oral, everything oral. Being more effective.
I'm sorry.
Can I
Do
ask-
you want him to respond to that? I mean,
Yeah, go ahead. He's at the podium already.
Yeah. Yes, I would like to do that. I can do that by next week. I can do a PowerPoint presentation based on this particular study. So it will be my pleasure to do that. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Next is adjournment.
Yes.
I just had one comment, since this is the Housing Authority
Okay.
meeting. We had the opening of the Citrus Crossing this morning, which brought 126 units. The complex itself has 127, but 126 units for seniors 62 and older. And I just want to take this opportunity to wholeheartedly thank staff. I heard nothing but wonderful things from all the parties that were involved in talking about how responsive and collaborative our staff were. And I want to give a special shout out to Mike Fortney, who's a gem in the city of Glendale and is part of our housing. So something great to celebrate. Some of the tenants were already there and had the opportunity to meet them, but it really was a very high quality, beautiful complex that had many amenities for our seniors. And just wanted to say that we're very excited, and it was a celebratory morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo my colleagues' comments. Also, I remember that we purchased this project in 2019, the land, and it takes time to build 126 units. It took almost 5 years. We all are aware of housing crisis that's going on in our city, in the state, and in our county as well. And I want to thank Mr. Milano for bringing the short but very comprehensive report as to what causes homelessness. There's always this image painted out there that only rent increase is the reason of evictions and reason of homelessness, which Clearly, it isn't. City is very cognizant of the fact that we have this issue, and we've been fighting it for last, several years to build new affordable housing. We have another project that's coming up on Pioneer Drive, if I'm not mistaken, 350 units. And we also have other projects that it's in the process that I don't think we can talk about here today because it's still in the works. It is an issue. No one has the magic, answer to this big problem, but the city is, I think all of us out here, especially the staff, I want to thank the staff as well for doing a great job. It's not easy to put this project together. We saw how many different groups were involved in building one project. It's not just the developer, it's the construction lender, then the other lender that has the permanent loan after the construction loan is over, the entities that come in and provide social services. It takes a village. This is really true in this case. So I want to thank everyone that was involved in getting this one done as well, the Citrus Crossing project, and hopefully looking forward to many more projects similar to that. Thank you so much.
Okay, can we have an adjournment?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Are we just rolling over?